Today we are going to talk about something that most successful people struggle with. That is
Mm-hmm.
perfectionism. With
Yeah,
me is Miss Vidhi. Could you introduce yourself, please?
yeah, sure. And thanks for having me here,
Very
Akash.
good.
And yeah, like you said, I am Vidhi. I'm a counseling psychologist, and I have completed my master's in applied psychology. Currently, I'm pursuing my PhD in psychology, and I've had an experience of practicing for over 2 years now,
Mhm.
with a diverse set of concerns. But what we're going to talk about today, that is perfectionism, is something that comes up many a times
Mm.
in my conversations with so many of my clients. So I thought it's going to be super interesting to talk about that over here with you today. So yeah, that was about me.
And so, if we define perfection from a purely psychological standpoint, how to define it?
Hmm. As a therapist, if you ask me that, what's perfect
Mm.
or what is perfectionism, let's say there's a
Mhm.
difference. Perfectionism can, let's say, be understood as the tendency
Mm.
to do things perfectly. Whereas if you ask me what's perfect, as a therapist, I don't think there's an objective answer to that, because your
Right,
perfect can be so different from what is my perfect.
right.
And when we talk of perfectionism, I think on a surface level, it may seem like the pursuit of something which is flawless in nature.
Yeah.
But I think it goes much deeper than that.
Mm.
Maybe that perfectionism is that very critical voice inside of you which keeps telling you that this is not good enough, do more,
Mm. Mm.
and you keep striving for more.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a limit to that more. If I may, you know, define perfectionism, I think it's that for me.
Right. So, how can a person draw a boundary between good enough and perfection?
Hmm. That's an interesting question, Akash, because let's say when I'm having a conversation with someone who experiences certain challenges in life because of
Mm.
their perfectionist tendencies, another question that comes in line is, whose perfect are you actually following? Is it your mother's perfect? Is it your father's perfect? Is it the society's perfect? Is it your employer's perfect? Is it your
Mm.
perfect? Because when we say that the definition of perfect can be so different for different people,
Mm.
to draw a healthy balance between how much is good enough, I first have to recognize whose good enough am I following.
Mm.
Because if I'm following so many good enoughs,
Mm.
then it's never going to be good enough, because it may be good enough for my mom, but not for my dad. It may be good enough for my dad, but not for the society. It may be good enough for the society, but not for my employer, let's say.
Yeah.
So I think the first step in drawing that healthy balance is to maybe first understand what is that perfect for me, where is it coming from, whose idea or whose values am I actually living. And when
Mm.
I get to know what I really want to do for myself, what is the value that I want to uphold for my own self,
Mm.
I think that's the first step to then drawing that line. Drawing the line comes later.
Mm. Right. Right. Right.
That's what I believe.
Mm.
Yeah.
So some clients must have argued or countered that it's a noble pursuit. Perfection is something that everyone should strive for. Something like that. So how do you reply to that?
Hmm. Yeah, that does happen, because I would say we've had healthy discussions, we've had healthy conversations on what is perfect.
Mm.
And what if I give up on the idea of perfectionism and I never
Mm.
reach the
Mm.
goal that I have for myself in my mind? Are you asking me to give up all the goals that I have for myself? Are you asking me to reduce my standards?
Mm.
Maybe that's not the point. The
Right.
point is to, like I said, to understand what do I want to do for myself? What's the purpose behind my action? What is the purpose behind me chasing this goal? What do I want to achieve for myself? Is it a value that I resonate with, or is it a value that the society resonates with? And I'm just following that.
Nice.
So I think it goes, like I said, it may seem like a very simple thing on the surface level, but I think we dig really, really deep to understand what is the idea of perfect that this person, or let's say my client, has in
Mm.
mind for them. And this conversation in itself takes many, many
It
hours for
does.
us to really uncover. Yes, because I think it's a constant process of reflection also for this
Mm.
person to sit with themselves and to really uncover, what do I want to do for myself? What do I
Mm.
want to pursue? What value do I really resonate with?
Mm.
So I think it sort of begins like that.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
do you think high achievement correlates with person having a perfectionist tendency?
Not really. I
Mm.
don't think it can be directly correlated on a very surface level. A deeper exploration is
Mhm.
required because what does high achievement mean for this person? Where is high
Mm.
achievement for this person coming from? Because
Mm.
a lot of times we see that people who've been high achievers throughout their life also start placing their worth on their achievements
Yeah.
entirely. Um, like I was recently having a conversation with someone, and it was a friend I was having a conversation with, and we were just discussing that how my friend's idea of their worth, or how good
Mm.
enough they feel, is currently placed on their career, and if they lose this job, they're going to
Mm.
feel entirely diminished, or they're going to feel entirely useless. And that sort of sparked this conversation of, why is your worth entirely placed on your career or your achievement professionally? Hmm?
Mm.
So yeah, I think that's definitely a line of inquiry we begin with,
Mm.
that where is this high achievement coming from? What has this high achievement meant for you?
Mm.
What does this high achievement give you? And why is it so important for you? And at the same time, our goals in life may also evolve
Mm.
with time. Our standards may also evolve
Mm.
with time. So it's also important to keep monitoring what standards I'm setting for myself, how realistic and how achievable
Mm.
are they.
Mm.
So I think this is how the conversation sounds like when we start talking about high achievement, let's say. But if you ask me to sort of also wrap up this question, if high achievement is linked with perfectionism, not necessarily,
Mhm.
but could be.
Right. So, any psychologist or psychology student watching this video, uh, having a potential client who struggles with perfectionism, what advice would you give them to help them change their behaviors?
Hmm. Right. I think, firstly, making the client really identify that they may be having these perfectionist tendencies, which are not entirely bad, may have helped them somewhere
Mhm.
also, may have helped them achieve also,
Yeah.
but sometimes it doesn't help you in other aspects of life. So I think also
Mm.
understanding where this works for me and where this doesn't work for me is very
Mm.
important. When you said that striking a healthy balance, it also requires me to identify, where does this work for me in life? How does this help me move forward? But is the same thing also holding me back in another aspect of life?
Mm.
Hmm? That's something very important. And a lot of times, when we really try to understand the need for these perfectionist tendencies, the most common answers would be to achieve more, to learn more, to grow our limits, to expand our limits, or to strive for the best.
Mm.
But I also think that there's a difference between this sort of a healthy striving
Mm.
and perfectionism.
Mm.
Because when you're striving to do the best is the best according to you.
Mm.
Yeah, and may not necessarily be the best according to the society or the world around you.
Mm.
Whereas perfectionism will constantly make you question this best as an objective term rather than
mm,
something which is so subjective.
mm,
Yeah, so that healthy striving of a goal will allow you to embrace your mistakes also. It will allow you to embrace what is not going right also, because that will allow you to learn from that mistake. That will allow you to be curious that, hey, this is not working out for me. Let me
mm,
do something else.
mm.
Whereas perfectionism is not going to let you do that.
Of course.
Perfectionism can also be seen as that very, very critical inner voice, which will beat you up if something goes wrong. That, hey, you know, you did a mistake again. And it may not allow you to embrace that curious self that, hey, what did not go right? Let me try to fix that. Yeah, so I think it's definitely beneficial if we are also able to, strike a healthy balance between striving for the best for us versus perfectionism. And when you talk about this one advice, I am not sure that if I have one objective advice or not, but I think in general, for everyone, including me, it's helpful to really discover what my best looks for
Mm,
me, what my best means for me. What are the values that I want to abide by in life? What are the
mm,
values that feel personal to me? And what is meaningful for me in life?
mm.
I think it's definitely a process that takes a lot of effort. It's not an effortless process to know your purpose, but it's worth it at the end of
Mm.
the struggle of trying to find your purpose and trying to find what you want to do, because it also sets you free.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, that perfectionism is something that can never be achieved, right? So that person can never feel accomplished, and that loop
Yeah, and
continues.
and yeah, definitely. And I'm so sorry to cut you also,
No, no,
Akash. I think
please.
this is something I read some time ago. Perfectionism is like setting up yourself for failure again and again,
Mm,
or setting up yourself for disappointment again and again. So the question is, does it really help me?
mm,
Maybe it creates a facade of helping me, but does it
mm,
really help me?
mm,
Hmm? And I always think of this one example, even in my therapy sessions, that yes, something may have worked for you
mm,
in some aspect of your life. For example, let's say if you go out
mm,
for a night drive, you would see that the traffic lights don't really work post
mm.
11 p.m. They're just blinking.
Yeah.
There is no 150-second ka red light which will make you stop at 11:30 or 12 or 1 a.m. in the night, because
Mm. it's
it's not required. But the same rule applies in the morning, and it helps you in the morning because there's traffic.
Yes.
Similarly, if I have this standard for myself that I want to strive for the best and I have these tendencies, yes, it may have helped you in some aspects of your life, but it's also important to recognize, does it also help me here?
Mm.
Maybe not. And it's very important to also look after that, because maybe it's also necessary to preserve your energy and not to
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
overspend.
required in every phase of your life. I mean, if you
Definitely, yeah.
want to buy clothes, I mean, how perfect do you think
Hmm.
you can be,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah. And yeah, lastly, I think we define good enough in terms of the outcomes that we achieve,
Mm,
in terms of whatever accomplishments that we have in life.
mhm,
But I think it's important to recognize that I am good enough, maybe simply because I just exist,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
doesn't have to be so conditioned, or it doesn't have to be um, my worth may not be attached to
mm,
so many things in life, which can also change over time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so just that.
Last question I have for you.
Yes.
if someone wants to reach out to you for your professional services, how can they contact you?
Hmm.
And what services do
So
you provide?
yeah, so like I said, I'm a counseling
Mm.
psychologist. So I do offer therapy services, and I am working with a mental health organization that is Amaha. So I practice with them. So if someone would like to reach out to me, someone would like to book a session with me, you could explore the app, the Amaha app, and you can find me there and you book a session with me. That's how you can reach out to me simply. It's simple. It's not that complex.
So it was an honor to have you on the platform.
Thanks, Akash.
It's my
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.